everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how to create this dress with a button back closure, and I'm doing it with 2 pillowcases. These are the materials you're going to need for this project. Start off by taking a shirt that you love the fit of and go ahead and trace it out. I am making the bottom of the shirt about 4 inches down from the armpit so that it's a little bit cropped. Now just straighten out your edges, and then we're going to add seam allowance. I'm adding 1.25 inches to the side seam and everywhere else 1/2 inch. Now we're going to trace our front piece for the back piece. We're going to make a couple things different though. We're going to add another inch to the side seam. And then we're going to straighten out the back neckline a little bit. Then we're going to add 2 inches right here for the button placket. Now I'm just showing you that when you fold over the button placket 1 inch, it'll look like this. These are the 2 pillowcases I'm using, and they are thrifted. If you don't want to use pillowcases, you don't have to. But what we're going to do now is cut out our pattern pieces. The front piece, I'm going to cut out 2 pieces on the fold, so it looks like this. And we need 4 of the back pieces. We need 2 for one side and 2 for the other, so make sure that they're mirrored. Now we're going to put our back pieces to one of our front pieces, right sides touching, and pin and sew the shoulder seam. Once it's sewed, it looks like this, and then we're going to repeat the same thing for the lining piece. Lay your lining piece right on top, right sides touching, open up those shoulder seams. And then sew from the back, around the neck, and then back to the other side. Now clip your corners and make notches so that your fabric lays flat when you turn it right side out. Turn it right side out and it'll look like this. Top stitch right here. Now we're making a line 1 inch to show where we're going to fold over our button placket. Making sure that it's 1 inch, and then iron it. We're going to repeat the same thing for the other side. We're going to pin that down and sew all the way around it. With the bodice turned wrong side out again, we're going to sew down the side seam around the arm and back down the side seam on both sides. Now we're going to make notches in that and turn it right side out. Now we need to work on the sleeves, and I want to use the bottom of this pillowcase for the sleeves, so I'm just laying it on there and marking it out. And then I'm going to cut it out, and this will be cutting out 4. So now I'm going to lay them right sides touching and sew along the bottom. Now I'm going to turn it right sides out, and we're going to top stitch along the bottom. Fold it in half and make a little notch so we know where the center is. Now we're going to base stitch along the top, and the base stitch is the longest stitch on your machine, and then we're going to gather it. Now lay it on your bodice, and we're going to measure 2.5 inches up, put a pin. And then on the other side, measure 2.5 inches up and put a pin. And then we're going to evenly distribute the gathers. Finding that notch, lining it up. Measuring 2.5 inches from the side seam. And then doing the same thing on the other side. And then we're going to sew our sleeves down. Now this is what the sleeves look like. Join your side seams together and sew them right sides touching. Now for a more finished look, I'm just going to pin down the side seams and top stitch them down. Now we're going to work on the back side of the dress, and for girls, the buttons go on the left, and for boys, the buttons go on the right. And now we're going to mark out where our buttonholes are going to go. I'm making mine about 2 inches apart and doing 4 buttons. Now I'm going to put my button maker on my machine and make my buttonholes, seam rip them open. Pin my dress back together so that I can go through the buttonholes to mark where the buttons need sewed onto. So I'm just going right through the buttonhole and marking it. Sew on the buttons. And the bodice is done. Now I'm just going to go in with some fingernail polish just to seal in those threads. There's the finished bodice, but now we want to add a skirt to it, so I'm taking the bottom of that pillowcase, and it's a little bit wider than what my bodice is, and I need it to be 14 inches long. So I'm cutting out a rectangle that is 14 inches long in the width of my pillowcase. We need to finish off the top edge and gather the top of the skirt with a basting stitch. Gather it down to size. Then pin it to your bodice, right sides touching. I'm also pinning the bottom part of this so that the button placket stays together. So like I said, right sides touching, and sew it. Take out your basting stitches. Take it a step farther by adding a waist tie. So I'm making long strips that are 4 inches wide, and you can make this however long you want. And sewing them right sides together to make them longer. Then folding it in half and sewing down the side and all the way down, leaving the other side open to turn right side out. Finish off that edge, put it on your dress, and here you go. Here's the finished dress. I also made a very similar one, but doing it different. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you like my channel, then please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.